The day I opened up memory's door, I found something that I could live for. Curtain shook as you opened my eyes, and I came rushing inside. Data behind my heart's encryption key. Can you see? Listen, and you might hear a melody. Your fire spark, the passion that keeps burning. Magic that helps me to believe. All the colors of the night and the way they help you hide. I'm learning what it's like to love and be alive. Oh, there will always be a tomorrow. You'll never have to be alone. Diamond city lights illuminate what's inside, and all the love I feel by your side. Decoding these emotions, you're the ocean I wanna dive into tonight. Rainbow color skies, and light us to take a ride. I know time won't wait, 'cause it only leaves behind.
Okay, now I think it should be capturing.
Eyes and you will find a shimmering light that will guide you through the night.
Bro, okay, we're literally just going to study.
When gray skies
Because I'm bored and I have nothing else to do.
I'll paint a rainbow lasting for days and days, just like the magic that you always share
Maybe it
with
should
me. Maybe now you need to believe.
Okay, we're literally just going to do practice questions. Look at this, look at this. Boom. Give me all the freaking subjects. Start. We're gonna speed run this bad boy. How should the court handle this case? A federal agency solicited bids to build a bridge on an interstate highway. In evaluating the bids, the agency took into account the cost of the bridge and other specified factors. A construction company submitted a bid that was lowest in cost, but the agency chose another bidder that offered more advantages on the other factors. The company that submitted the lowest bid sued the federal agency in federal district court. The only relief that the company sought was to enjoin the issuance of a contract to the prevailing bidder. The company was unable to obtain a temporary restraining order on preliminary injunction. The agency awarded the contract to the bidder it had originally selected. Just as the new bridge was completed and opened, the suit came to trial. Okay, so like the bridge is already done. They're outside of a bridge, right? And like what they wanted to do was like stop the contract, basically. But it's too late now. There's like the thing. So I think it's this because it's like moot now. It's also an agency though, so maybe it's that. No, let's go simple is better. Yeah, it's because it's moot. The only relief sought by the company was an injunction against awarding the contract to another bidder. During the pre-trial period, the contract was awarded to the other bidder and the bridge was completed and opened. Thus, the only relief sought by the company is no longer available and the case is moot. That's pretty easy. That was a con law question. Sounded like a contracts question at first, but it's actually just a con law. What is the most likely result of the bidder? A homeowner entered into a contract with the bidder under which the builder was to install 2 new bathrooms in the homeowner's house. The stated price for the first bathroom was $30,000 and the price for the second bathroom was $35,000. So this is a service. This is important. So because it's a service, that means we're in common law. The builder, without justification, left the job after completing the $30,000 bathroom. The homeowner found another contract to complete the second bathroom for $35,000 and has suffered no losses as a result of the builder's breach. The builder has sued the homeowner for the $30,000 contract price for the first bathroom, which remains unpaid. What is the most likely result of the builder's suit? So basically, you have to build 2 things, one for $30K and the other for $35K. Bro only built the first one for $30K, right? And bro has not been paid yet. So even though he didn't do the second one, he's still liable for that first one, or he still deserves his payment for the first one, 30K. So he's at least gonna get the 30K. The thing is, the builder has sued the homeowner, right? Homeowner has not suffered any losses by paying the second one 35K, right? The first bathroom which remains away was likely result. So he's gonna get 30K at least. So it's definitely not A. He's materially breached the contract. No, he did $30,000 worth of work, right? He's gonna get the money. Builder recover reasonable value of his work. Builder recover 30K. See, I don't think it's this one because he didn't do anything for the second one, and he did do $30,000 worth of work. He like essentially did this first one, right? So service contracts are, I don't freaking know. I'm just gonna put D. When performance under a contract can be divided into multiple tasks, each with the corresponding price that the other party must pay when the task is completed. One party's performance of task triggers the other party's duty to pay for it, even if the performing party breaches another part of the contract. Restatement second of contracts. Here, the contract was divisible into two parts. The builder will recover the association, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. Next question. That was a contracts question. Is the court likely to grant the seller's motion seeking relief from judgment? This is a civil procedure question. A buyer filed suit against the seller in federal court in State A. The federal district court entered a default judgment in favor of the buyer. Within 1 month after the entry of the default judgment, the seller made a motion seeking relief from the judgment on the ground of excusable neglect. The seller made a prima facie case showing that it had meritorious defense to the buyer's claim and that setting aside the default judgment would not unfairly prejudice the buyer. However, the record also showed that the seller had been served with the summons and complaint and knew of the action in time to appear, plead, or otherwise defend against it, but failed to do any of those things. So bro never did anything, right? And then he lost by default. And then the guy who lost by default was like, wait, no, I could have won. I had it on the entire time. I could have won. But he didn't do anything. So how do we reconcile that? The seeking relief from the judgment is like, it's not even really GG no re. It's like not even a re. It's just like, how would you describe it? It's like he's just basically saying like, yo, don't do this, don't do this. So how should we settle it? No, because the court may simply set aside the entry of judgment against the seller. Oh, is the court likely to grant the seller's motion seeking relief from judgment? So is the seller going to win? The guy who did nothing. Things is that he had a case apparently of excusable neglect, meaning that like, hey, I didn't do anything, but there's a good reason. Yes, because the policy of the courts will liberally grant default judgments. I don't think it's that one. Watch it be that one. It's because the seller met the burden of relief from judgment and the buyer would not be unfairly prejudiced by having the default judgment set aside. No, because the value is set to appear or otherwise defending against lawsuit does not constitute a form of excusable neglect. I mean, it could, right? He needs good faith, right? No, because the court may... I don't think it's B either. I don't think it's A. I'm just going to go D. Oh, it was B. Ha ha ha. The seller failed to take any action in the buyer's claim despite the seller's awareness of the suit filed against him. Such behavior provides no excuse and thus does not justify a court relieving the seller from the final judgment against him. So, since we got that wrong, we are going to open up a Word document and we are going to write that down. So we have like our notes to use for later. Civil procedure. Right, and then we're going to do the thingy. What the heck is that? Where's the thingy? Bro, what am I doing? Oh, this is cringe. Oh, it's right here. Wait, what? This is cringe. How do you do the bullet points, bro? On the mini mode. Oh, this is so cringe. Oh, it's under paragraph. Yeah, totally. What is it? When a party loses by default, doesn't do anything, meaning he did. When a party loses by default, because he did literally nothing in the lawsuit. No answer. No pleading. No appearance. When a party loses by default because he did literally nothing in the lawsuit, that is not that provides no excuse. That is not how does it? That behavior provides no excuse. And the dude who did nothing cannot get relief from judgment. Even if he had a valid claim or something, he just didn't do anything. Alright, learning opportunities. That's why these are important. Alright, so we got one wrong. It's okay. And like D was the second but most selected answer. And I didn't forget the fact that like apparently 70% of people got it right, but that's okay. This is criminal law. Checking the phone for notificaciones. Oh, my friend has posted my video in the stream. Literally me. Yeah. Okay. If charged with murder of the man, the teller should be found. A bank teller was fired by the president of a bank. The teller wanted to take revenge against the president. Alright, so the teller was fired by president, right? The teller wanted to take revenge against the president, but decided against attempting it personally because he knew the president was protected around the clock by bank security guards. The teller knew a man who had violent temper and was very jealous. The teller falsely told the man that the man's wife was having an affair with the bank president. Enraged, the man said, "What am I gonna do? Bitcoin." The teller said, "If it weren't my wife, I'd just march into his office and blow his brains out." The man being the guy he told, the man grabbed a revolver and rushed to the bank. He walked into the bank, carrying the gun in his hand. One of the security guards, believing a holdup was about to occur, shot and killed the man. If charged with the murder of the man, the teller should be found. Okay, so let's see what he did. Bro told guy, "Yo, your wife is sleeping with this guy that I'm mad at." And then that guy was like, "What?" So he goes to the company, gets a gun. Is the first guy liable, basically? It's not like, it's not transferred intent, I don't think. He's definitely guilty of something, I think. Not guilty because he did not intend for the man to be shot by a security guard. I don't think it's that one. Because he's engaging in some sort of like attempt, right? Or solicitation. That's what he's doing, it's an attempted solicitation. Not guilty because he did not shoot the man. It's not acting in concert with the security guard. Extreme recklessness. I don't think it's transferred intent because that would be like. If person A wanted to shoot person B but missed and shot person C. I don't think it's that. I'm marking off all of these. Not guilty because he did not intend for the man to be shot by the security guard. You could be reckless with that now. Not guilty because he did not shoot the man and he was not acting in concert with the security guard. He definitely did not shoot the man, right? He's not acting in concert. But why would that be relevant? I'm taking too long. I'm only supposed to take like a minute and 40. Extreme recklessness, that sounds a little too vague. It's not transferred intent. I think it's more than just intent. I'm gonna go with D. Oh my god, it was extreme recklessness. Criminal law was actually my lowest subject. The teller, knowing the man to be violent and jealous, lied to him and suggested he commit murder by taking actions that ensured the man would be walking into a heavily guarded bank with a gun. The teller acted with extreme recklessness. This is enough to show applied malice aforethought. Therefore, the teller should be found guilty of murder. And additional issue is whether the teller was the proximate cause of the man's death. General test is whether the death was foreseeable. A defendant will be held criminally liable for the foreseeable consequences of their actions. In this case, okay, I guess I need to know that a defendant will be held liable for the foreseeable consequences of their actions. In this case, by ensuring the man would enter a heavily guarded bank with the intent to kill the president and armed with a gun, it was foreseeable that the man would be killed. I'm just gonna copy that. Yeah. Transfer intent does not apply where the actor is doing the killing. It's different from the one who has the intent to kill the president. Blah blah blah. D is incorrect. This charge does not require the teller be one to shoot the man. or that he acted in concert with the security guard. Because the teller approximately caused the death of the man, I'm just gonna do that. Go do whoops. Criminal law / procedure. And then we do the paragraph, we do the bullet, and then we just do the copy paste. Oh, what the? I thought I copied this. Where is it? A defendant will be held criminally liable. Oh, can I not copy, bro? Really? Copy. Bro, really? Aw, man. I actually have to type this out. You're kidding me. Oh, good heavens. I do. Yeah, I do. Alright, whatever. A defendant will be held criminally liable for the foreseeable consequences of their actions. Example. A convinces B to enter a heavily guarded area with a gun. C. Security guard shoots B thinking a hold up is about to happen. A is liable? Criminally liable for B's death because it was foreseeable that a guy with a gun in a heavily defended area would be shot. Do I need the extended explanation? I don't think I actually do. Murder is the unlawful killing of another human with malice aforethought. Malice refers to mens rea, blah blah blah. I don't need that. If a defendant intended a harmful result or a particular person or object and trying to carry out that intent caused a similar result to another person or object, his intent will be transferred. That's not it. A is correct here. The teletic actions to serve walk into heavily again. Da-da. On the implied malice doctrine, a defendant who acts knowingly and recklessly can be found to have requisite mental intent to commit murder. As mentioned above, the murder conviction does not require intent to kill, and a guilty conviction can flow from extreme recklessness or reckless indifference to an unjustified risk of human life. Further, in criminal law, the defendant's act must have been the proximate cause of the death of a victim to prove murder. Proximate cause means legal cause, or one that the law recognizes as the primary cause of injury. It is an act that produces foreseeable consequences. Alright, so we got that one wrong. No biggie, we got 2 wrong, right? 2 out of 4? That's not bad. This looks like contracts. Oh no, this is even worse. It's real property. What are the rights of the investor's friend in the bank lot? Both notes are now due, and both the investor and the buyer have refused to pay. The lot is now worth $50K. 5 years ago, an investor who owned a vacant lot in a residential area borrowed $25,000 from a friend and gave the friend a note for $25,000 due in 5 years, secured by a mortgage on the lot. So investor to friend. So investor has the mortgage to the friend. No, friend has the mortgage on the land. The friend neglected to record the mortgage. Yeesh. The fair market value of the lot was $25,000 then. 3 years ago, the investor discovered that the friend had not recorded his mortgage, and in consideration of $50,000 conveyed the lot to a buyer. The fair market value of the lot was $50,000. The buyer knew nothing of the friend's mortgage. 1 month thereafter, the friend discovered the sale to the buyer, recorded his $25,000 mortgage, and notified the buyer that he had a $25,000 mortgage on the lot. 2 years ago, the buyer needed funds. Although she told her bank the mortgage claimed by the investor's friend, the bank loaned her $15,000, and she gave the bank a note for $15,000 due in 2 years secured by a mortgage on the lot. The bank promptly recorded the mortgage. At the time, the fair market value of the lot was $75,000. The Recording Act justifies no conveyance or mortgage of real property shall be good against subsequent purchasers for value and without notice unless the same be recorded for law. So basically, the last bona fide purchaser is going to win. And I think the only bona fide both notes are now due. The lot is worth $50,000. What are the rights of the investor's friend and the bank in the lot? I don't think the second one is good. 1 month thereafter, the friend discovered the sale to the buyer, recorded his $25,000 mortgage, and notified the buyer that he had $25,000 mortgage on the lot. 3 years ago. It's 3 years? I don't know. 2 years ago, although she needed bank mortgage claim the investor's friend, the bank loaned her $15,000, and she gave the bank a note for $15,000 due in 2 years. However, the buyer must have been a bona fide purchaser, right? And the bona fide purchaser, the person that buys from them steps into their shoes, so the bank would actually be pretty good then. Because, like, bro had it good. I don't freaking know. Property is hard. Both property mortgages are enforceable liens, and the friend has priority because it was first recorded. Both mortgages are enforceable liens, but the bank has priority because the buyer was an innocent purchaser for value. That's what I was thinking. Only friend's mortgage is liable because the friend had actual and constructive notice of the investor's fraud. Fraud? Wait, why would it be a fraud? Oh yeah, because the investor bro wants to sell it to buy. Oh, but it doesn't matter. You could have like the scummiest thing. I'm gonna go this. Oh, I didn't even read the. Why is the first one not valid? Because the second one, I was like, I get the reasoning on the bank. That's the BFP stuff. But why not the first one? The friend does not have an enforceable lien. The friend did have a lien on the lot when the investor granted the friend a mortgage. The friend, however, did not record the mortgage. The investor then sold the lot to the buyer. The buyer had no actual notice of the mortgage to the friend. The buyer had no notice based on possession because the lot was vacant. The buyer had no constructive notice of the mortgage because the mortgage to the friend had not been recorded when the buyer received title. And it's in a notice jurisdiction, meaning BFPs win, thus the buyer took the lot free of any unrecorded interest. The buyer was an innocent purchaser for value at the time the buyer received the title. Later notice of the buyer and the later recording of the friend's mortgage are irrelevant. I need to know why the friend's isn't good. Is it just because he didn't record it? At common law, in nearly all cases, priority was given to the grantee who received the property first. However, statutes known as the Recording Acts require a grantee to make some sort of recording so as to give notice to the world that title to certain property has already been conveyed, to put subsequent grantees on purchase of the notice. Recording the deed is not essential to make it valid, but a grantee could lose out possession to a subsequent bona fide purchaser. A subsequent BFP is one who gives valuable consideration and has no notice of prior instrument. There are 3 types. I can skip that. D is correct. In this question's fact pattern, the language of the recording statute is no such conveyance. Blah blah, blah blah. The most important of this word is without notice. Blah blah blah. Generally, the priority of mortgage is determined at the time it was placed on the property. When a mortgage is foreclosed, it will terminate interest junior to the mortgage being foreclosed, but will not affect senior interest under the lien theory. The mortgage considered the holder of security interest only, and the mortgage received the friend had a mortgage of $25,000 but did not record it. The Recording Act in question fact finder is a notice statute, so a subsequent BFP who took without notice, who failed to record, the investor then sold. The investor then sold the property to the buyer, who was a BFP. Thus, the buyer took free of the $25,000. Oh, okay. So they're just going to lose to BFP. The buyer then took out the mortgage. Wait, no, actually, I get it now. Oh, I understand. Because it's just like a BFP one. If there's another type of statute that's like, you have to be a BFP and you also have to record first. Meaning, in that statute, I would have been right with this one. No, actually, no, it would have been just the... No, it would have been both. Point is, it's a regular notice one. So... only the bank wins. I understand it now. We have no more viewers. We had one concurrent viewer, but now they're gone. The one was commenting. This is some top tier content. What would the wife's strongest argument for rescinding the contract be? A husband and wife and their 4 children lived on a farm that the wife inherited from her father. On numerous occasions, the wife's brother had offered to buy the farm from her, but she always refused. The husband died suddenly in an accident. The day after her husband's funeral, the brother and his attorney visited the wife at the farm. The brother again told the wife that he wanted to buy the farm, and told her that she would need the proceeds of the sale to support her children. The brother also said that his attorney had drafted an offer to purchase the farm, and that the wife needed to sign it right away. The attorney confirmed the need to accept quickly. The wife reluctantly signed and sold the farm to the brother for its fair market value. A few days after the sale, the wife learned that her husband had a life insurance policy that would provide her with a substantial payout, and that she had not needed to sell the farm to support her children. What would be the strongest argument for rescinding the contract? Okay, it's not a mistake. No one made a mistake here. I don't know what okay, I don't know what unconscionability is. It's either undue influence or duress. Undue influence has something to do with like the nature of the relationship between the two people. And since it's a brother and a sister, it might be that one. It's not duress because there's no threat, right? I think it's undue influence. I'm just gonna put that. Haha. Undue influence or over persuasion often includes factors as the existence of a confidential relationship, unusual time and place. Blah blah blah. Here are the facts demonstrating. Okay, I'm just gonna copy that. Let's see the score. Literally, yeah. All right, I'm just gonna type that down. I thought I had my trackpad here, but I don't. Contracts. Undue influence, aka over persuasion, often involves a confidential an unusual time and place for the persuasion. Multiple persuaders, and time pressure, which is all here. So I only decided it based on the family thing, but I should have cued in on the other stuff. Oh well. Is the statute constitutional? Ha ha ha. Constitutional. A weed often found growing in vacant lots contains a stimulant that can be extracted by boiling the weed in water. Someone drinking the resulting tea can remain awake for long periods of time. However, drinking the tea can also cause paralysis and even death. Because the weed is so readily available, there is no commercial market for it. Congress has enacted a statute that makes possession of the tea a misdemeanor. The statute has no other provisions and is not part of a broader federal statutory scheme. Is the statute constitutional? What power can Congress do this under the Constitution? Commerce Clause. No, because possession of the tea is a non-criminal activity with no link to interstate commerce. Yeah, that's pretty tough. Yes, because boiling water generally involves the use of stoves and fuels that move interstate commerce. I don't think that's how it works, though. Because that's like... Because that would be true if they're trying to regulate stoves and stuff, but like this is like weed. Because in the aggregate, the deaths and cases of paralysis caused by a stimulant have a significant economic impact. That sounds a little more justifiable. When in doubt, go with the Commerce Clause. Oh, okay, dang it, the Commerce Clause failed me. Congress does not have the power under Commerce Clause to regulate a non-commercial activity with no link to interstate commerce. But why is D incorrect? The aggregate effect applies only to regulations of economic activity. Ah, that was the problem. Okay, because it's not an economic thing in the first place. Do I have a Congo? I don't. Constitutional law. Boom. Bam. The aggregate effects test, Commerce Clause, only applies to regulations of economic activity. So if the activity ain't economic in the first place, you can't use this rule, I guess. Facts here do not involve a comprehensive regulation of commercial that incidentally covers some intrastate. Oh well. You win some and you lose some. Should the protesters prevail, this is free speech, my specialty. A large privately owned and operated shopping mall is open to the public and includes small shops, major department stores, and restaurants that are located around a pedestrian area. It also has several movie theaters, an ice skating rink, and a small amusement park, and a branch of the local public library. The mall is advertised as a small town with a big town feel. During shopping hours, a group of 10 protesters, so during shopping hours that might be relevant, a group of 10 protesters gathered in the pedestrian area near the entrance to the department store. That also might be relevant. No! To denounce the sale of animal fur products in that store. The protesters were peaceful and did not interfere with traffic in or out of the store, but they carried signs and vocally communicated their message to people walking through the area. So they're peaceful and did not interfere with traffic, but they carried signs and vocally communicated their message to people walking in and out of the area. Mall management quietly broke up the protests and required the protesters to leave the mall. The protesters have sued the mall, claiming that their right to free speech guaranteed by the... Bro, I don't even think this is government action. So the first thing about free speech is that it has to be government action, right? I don't think that's here. So should the protesters avail? No, because the mall is private property and there's no action. I don't need to look at the other ones. Yeah, okay, I knew it. That's the first thing people forget about the First Amendment. It doesn't apply to private action. No one gets that a lot of the time. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just pulling your leg. But actually, I didn't even need to read that one. That one's just easy. I didn't know. Should the court grant the injunction? Civ Pro. A mother subdivided vacant lot. Oh, this might be property. No, never mind. A mother subdivided vacant land that she owned into 3 lots. She kept one for herself, conveyed another to her daughter, and conveyed the remaining lot to her son. Each conveyance was by deed of gift containing a covenant specifying that only one single-story home could be construed on the conveyed lot in order to preserve views of the nearby lake from the mother's lot. Okay, so she gives land subject to some rules. Was by deed of gift containing a covenant that only single-story homes could be built. The deeds were recorded. The mother then constructed a large 3-story building on her house, on her lot. Several years later, the son conveyed his lot to a purchaser using a warranty deed that made no mention of the covenant in the previous deed from the mother. The purchaser promptly recorded it. So with all these warranty stuff, they just describe the title of the land. I don't know what that actually means, but I know that. When the purchaser later began constructing the 3-story house similar to the mother sued to enjoin construction. Should the court grant the instruction? I think so. Because he probably had some sort of like notice. Yeah, he didn't have actual notice, right? Yeah, okay, that was easy. An equitable servitude is a promise concerning the use of land that benefits and burdens the original parties to the promise, as well as their successors. The mother created an equitable servitude when she conveyed the 3rd lot to her son. The burden was on the son's lot to build only a 1-story house, and the benefit was on the mother's retained lot to preserve her view of the lake. Here, the equitable servitude was in writing and recorded, providing constructive notice. Oh, he had to do it. Yeah, he didn't even need, like... Oh, no, that's constructive notice. That's what I was talking about. Haha, I know what I'm talking about. I have to use the restroom, but I should do maybe one more. Nah, I'm gonna take a break. BRB. Alright, non-existent viewers, I'm back. That is too much Persona. Let's put on some Diamond City Lights again. I really like this song. Let me see what we got on the old phone notification squad.
Curtain shook as you opened my eyes, and I came rushing inside. Data behind my heart's encryption key. Can you see? Listen, and you might hear a melody. Your fire spark, the passion that keeps burning. Magic that helps me to believe. All the colors of the night and the way they help you hide. I'm learning what it's like to love and be alive. Oh, there will always be a tomorrow. You'll never have to be alone. Diamond City Lights illuminate what's inside, and all the love I feel by your side. Decoding these emotions, you're the ocean I wanna dive into tonight. Rainbow colors nights, light us to take a ride. I know time won't wait, 'cause it only leaves me high. Don't cry, look in my eyes and you might find a shimmering light that will guide you through the night.
What should I get for lunch tomorrow? I should probably bring lunch. I'm spending too much money. In a suit against the insurance company for breach of contract, the manager, a manager age 60 who had no plans for early retirement, had worked for an insurance company for 20 years as a managerial employment at will, when he had a conversation with the company's president about the manager's post-retirement goal of extensive travel around the United States. A month later, the president handed the manager a written signed resolution by the company's board of directors stating that when and if the manager should decide to retire, at his option, the company, in recognition of his past service, would pay him $200,000. In recognition of his past service? Oh no. Wait. Because that might be a problem in consideration. However, it could probably be seen. Would pay him $2,000 per month lifetime pension. The company had no regularized retirement plan for at-will employees. Shortly thereafter, the manager retired and immediately bought a $30,000 recreational vehicle for his planned travels. After receiving the promised $2,000 monthly pension from the insurance company for 6 months, the manager, now unemployed elsewhere, received a letter from the insurance company advising him that the pension would cease immediately because of recessionary budget constraints affecting the varying degrees all managerial salaries and retirement pensions. In a suit against the insurance company for breach of contract, the manager probably... He did retire and he had no plans, right? So that might be consideration because he did something that he would not have otherwise done. But I don't think that's a gift, right? Because there's the consideration is that he... No. Maybe it is. Well, let's see why. Win because he retired from the company as bargained for consideration. The board's promised. A written signed resolution. When and if the manager should decide to as the option. At his option. Because he timed his decision to retire and to buy the recreational vehicle in reasonable reliance on the board's promise. It could be that one, right? Because even if there's a problem of consideration, this gets to promissory estoppel, which fixes a lack of consideration. Because he did rely to his detriment on this thing. So let's put B. Oh my god, we're so cool. Under the theory of detrimental reliance, a gratuitous promise may be enforceable notwithstanding lack of consideration if the party making the promise has reason to expect the promise will induce reliance on part of the promisee, where there has been reliance in fact, and where injustice may be avoided only by enforcement of the promise. So it's pretty neat because sometimes I don't exactly know the answer, but then you read the answer choices and then you kind of figure out the answer. I think I'll just do a couple more questions because we've done like 10. This could probably just be the last one. I'm kind of bored now because it's like already 10. And it's not like I have anything else planned. In such action, the court should find the title is now Mrs. Land property. 20 years ago, a testator who owned Blackacre, a 1-acre tract of land, duly delivered a deed of Blackacre to the school district so long as it is used for school purposes. Uh-oh. Rules against perpetuities, Old English law, my favorite. The deed was promptly and properly recorded. 5 years ago, the testator died, leaving his son as his only heir, but his duly probated will, he left all my estate to my friend. Last month, the school district closed its school on Blackacre, and for valid consideration, duly executed and delivered a quitclaim deed of Blackacre to a dev, who planned to use the land for commercial development. The dev has now brought an appropriate action to quiet tile against the testator's son, a friend, and the school district. The only applicable statute in provision jurisdiction probate code which provides that any property interest which is descendable is divisible. Okay, so here we go. We got T gives it to school district so long as it's used for school purposes, right? That's probably a valid thing. But as soon as it's used for not school purposes, it goes back to testator, right? Possibility of reverter or whatever the heck that's called, right? And then bro is like, all my estate to my friend, right? So we're gonna ignore his like son because it doesn't matter that he's the only heir because he has a valid will. It says all my estate to my friend, so it's gotta be the friend because school is no longer used for purposes, right? So it immediately goes back to the guy. It doesn't matter the school conveyed it to this other person because it didn't have anything to convey at that point anyway. It's not used for school purpose anymore. So now it's back to the friend, and it's part of the estate, or it's back to the testator. It's part of the estate, and the estate goes to my friend. However, did he die yet? Huh. Oh, I didn't think about that. Testator. Last month. Oh no, he did die. All my estate to my friend. Is it the estate at that present moment when he died? Huh. It might be his son. Because everything that was given away is already to the friend. I'll go with my friend, because that's what I was thinking at first. School district interest was a fee simple terminal, meaning it could be terminated, and the testator's interest was a possibility of reverter. According to facts, the only event that could terminate the school district's interest would be the cease using the land for school purposes. When that event occurred, the school's interest terminated, and the land reverted back to the testator. The testator, however, had died at the time his interest reverted, so that interest went to the friend in accordance with the dictates of the testator's duly promoted law. Okay. If the testator had not bequeathed the estate to his friend, then the interest would revert to the testator's son. That was a little too easy. Maybe one more. Just one. In this case, the court should hold that the exclusion of aliens from the state award program is to encourage the growth of its population. A state established a program that awarded $1,000 to parents of each child born within the state, provided that at the time of the child's birth, the mother and father of the newborn were citizens of the U.S. A family are aliens who are permanent residents of the U.S. and have resided in the state for 3 years. When the first child was born 2 months ago, they applied. Wait, the residents of the U.S. Okay, they're just residents. They got a permanent residence. Residence is like a thing, but for the sake of the statute, they're not citizens. When their first child was born 2 months ago, they applied for and were denied the $1,000 award by state officials on the sole ground that they are not citizens of the U.S. So it's a suspect class, right? So they're gonna need strict scrutiny. Or what are the ones for suspect class? It's like race. Fundamental right. I should know this. Having filed suit. Assume no federal statute. What's the intermediate scrutiny one? Gender and legitimacy, and then everything else is rational basis. That's the thing. Or strict scrutiny. Anything that affects fundamental rights. And then race. National origin. I think that's one of them. So it's going to need strict scrutiny, which is very, very difficult for the state to win in. Court should hold the exclusion radius for the state rule program is, I don't know, constitutional because it might be unconstitutional to the judicial review for such claims based on alienage. The state cannot demonstrate that this classification is necessary to convene. No, that's not true. To encourage the growth of its population. It could do other things. Yeah. State laws and alienage are subject to strict scrutiny unless they discriminate against alien participation in state government, which is like serving in the juries and stuff. Or voting. Since the state cannot demonstrate that this classification is necessary to advance a compelling state interest, it will not pass strict scrutiny review. I kind of want to keep going, but I kind of want to do other things as well. Maybe just one more. If the plaintiff sues the shop's owner for injury she suffered, will the plaintiff prevail? This is torts. A sporting goods shop was burglarized by an escaped inmate from a nearby prison. The inmate stole a rifle and bullets from a locked cabinet. The burglar alarm at the shop did not go off because the shop's owner had negligently forgotten to activate the alarm's motion detector. Shortly thereafter, the inmate used the rifle ammunition stolen from the shop in a shooting spree that caused injury to several people, including the plaintiff. If the plaintiff sues the shop owner for the injury she suffered, will the plaintiff prevail? So let's go through the negligence things. Alright, you need duty, breach of duty, causation, and damages. There are obviously damages. Alright, so she's suing the shop owner, right? The sporting goods was burglarized by an escaped inmate from a nearby prison. Inmate stole a rifle and bullets from the lock cabinet. It was locked, right? So that's bro's doing his job, right? The burglar alarm at the shop did not go off because the shop owner had negligently forgotten to activate the motions detector, right? What could an alarm do to stop it? But for the guy's negligence, the plaintiff would not have been injured. How could an alarm stop him? Because it was just a sound, right? He's still probably going to steal the gun. I'm leaning towards no. Is not an abnormally dangerous activity. Oh, that's like going at a strict liability thing. I don't think that's it. There's no evidence of circumstances suggesting a high risk of theft and criminal use of firearms stopped by the shop's owner. That's like kind of going towards the duty thing, which is kind of thinking. Yeah, I think that was too easy. Yeah. The commission of a criminal act often supersedes the liability of the negligent. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Do I have torts? Okay. It could have been much easier if I had known that rule. Oh. Control Z. Yeah, right here. The commission of a criminal act often supersedes. Commission. The commission of a criminal act often supersedes the liability of the original commission of a criminal act by a third party is often supersedes the liability of the original negligent actor. Exception to this is if the negligence is if the original negligent actor creates a condition that such a criminal act is the foreseeable consequence of that action. Here, the shop owner didn't forget to lock his door, he just forgot to set the alarm at his gun shop. The negligence of not turning the alarm does not contribute to the likelihood of the crime happening. In this case, the inmate broke in not knowing if the alarm was on or off. break-in with superseding force that would cut off defendant's liability. It is not foreseeable that the breaking would happen just because of the prison nearby, unless it's a notably high crime area. Pretty good. Alright, I'm kind of bored. I'm just gonna stop here. Thank you, everyone.